Welcome, listeners, to Beyond the Wardrobe. My name is Emmanuel Anday, where we peel back the layers of our favorite fantasy worlds to reveal the truths within. Today, we're joined by a panel of Narnia aficionados ready to discuss the profound allegories and spiritual themes in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Let's introduce our panelists.
Hi, I'm Francis. I'm actually really excited to explore the depths of Narnia's allegorical landscape with y'all.
And hello, everyone. I am Nicole, and I am delighted to be here and to explore the spiritual symbolism this film so beautifully portrays.
Hi, I'm Ryan. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe isn't just a tale of adventure and magic. It's a story rich of meaning, and metaphor.
Hello, I'm Harold, and indeed, it's a film that invites us to look beyond the fantastical elements to see the echoes of our own world and experiences.
Hi, I am MJ. I'm ready for a deep theological dive into the religious themes in the film and give meaning to them.
So now we're moving on to the thesis statement and my explanation. So, our thesis today suggests that this film transcends the bounds of its genre. And it's not just the fantasy, but it is an allegorical narrative exploring profound religious themes. So, let us unpack this. So, when we talk allegory, we're referring to a story that operates on two levels. So, it's the literal and the symbolic nature. So in Narnia, the symbolism is deeply intertwined in religious themes. So the film uses fantasy to discuss the concepts of redemption, sacrifice, and spiritual growth, which resonate with audiences on such a broader scale. So in here we will go in the deep dive for the key scenes of the themes. So
You guys want some popcorn?
yes, I would like to
I would
indulge
want some.
some popcorn.
In this scene, this is actually really, really sad. Where this is one of the scenes where Christianity was actually like compared onto like the movie.
Yeah, definitely, and especially it shows the themes wherein Aslan's resurrection intertwines with Jesus's uh, resurrection as well too.
Yeah,
So you can
exactly.
see the themes. So here we see that the act of sacrifice is so important, but so as the characters' reactions around Aslan. So you could see that the Pensy twins are looking despair and the subsequent hope resonate with the audience. So here we see Aslan's resurrection isn't just a triumph over the White Witch, it symbolizes hope, renewal, and the cynical nature of life and faith. So we could move on to the comparison with the source material.
Thank you, Em. So, after watching all of that scene, uh, we need to embark on a journey through the enchanted world of Narnia, guided by the steady fate of its creator, C.S. Lewis. Join me as we explore the Christian symbolism woven into the fabric of the lion, the witch, and the wardrobe. So here's a short story of Clive Staples Lewis, known to his friend as Jack, was not an only a master storyteller, but also a devout Christian whose faith permeates the pages of his beloved tale. He was born in Belfast, North Ireland in 1898, and Lewis's early years was shaped by his upbringing in the Protestant Church of Ireland.
It's fascinating how Lewis's upbringing influenced his writing. Despite his early faith, he grappled with doubts, much like many of us do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like many young people, Lewis experienced periods of doubt and skepticism about his faith and questioning the existence of God and struggling with the problem of evil. However, It was during his time at Oxford University that he encountered the transformative power of Christianity once again. And through late night conversation with friends like J.R.R. Tolkien and Hugo Dyson, Lewis found himself drawn back to the teaching of Christ, ultimately embracing Christianity with a renewed sense of purpose and conviction. And he rarely made any specific reference to a particular denomination of Christianity, but sought to reinforce the underlying Christian values shared by all Christian faiths. And his Christian beliefs also influenced his more popular works, such the Chronicles of Narnia. Though he also includes ideas of Roman and Celtic myths, there are underlying Christian notions of sacrifice and Christ-like actions. And Lewis began writing The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe during the Second World War. He was partially inspired by three evacuee children who came to stay in his home in 1359 Risinghurst, a suburb of Oxford. And Lewis said the experience of the evacuee children gave him a new perspective on the joy of childhood. Lewis also remarked he had an image of a fawn since he was about 16. The lion all began with a picture of a fawn carrying an umbrella and a parcel in a snowy wood, like this film. As I explained, he began with a picture of a fawn carrying an umbrella and parcels in a snowy wood. And Lewis said to himself, let's try to make a story about it.
Yeah, it's no wonder that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe has resonated with audiences for generations. Luce's ability to blend fantasy and faith is truly unparalleled. And in fact, that he drew inspiration from real life experiences, like the evacuee during the children during World War II. And it adds another depth to the story, which
Yeah,
makes it
well
a lot
said.
interesting, honestly.
Uh-huh, yeah. And well said, today we're more than a half century after his passing. C.S. Lewis' legacy continues to inspire millions of readers around the world, and his books have been translated into dozens of languages, adapted for stage and screen, and cherished by readers of all ages, like us.
Yeah.
So, one of words of Lewis, C.S. Lewis himself said, "You can never get a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me."
That's a great line by C.S. Lewis himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we dive into the allegorical interpretations of the film, let's connect with our prior discussion on C.S. Lewis' religious beliefs. As a devout Christian, Lewis infused his work with profound theological themes, forming the foundation of Narnia's allegorical landscape. Through the integration of his faith into storytelling, Lewis created a narrative abundant in symbolism and moral depth. Now, let's explore how these beliefs shape the film's symbolic layers. But first, let's grasp the essence of allegory. Allegory employs symbolic characters, settings, or events to convey profound philosophical, moral, or political messages. It enables storytellers to add layers of interpretation, inviting audiences to delve deeper into the narrative.
Allegory is like a hidden treasure trove in a story, isn't it? It's those layers that add richness and complexity to what might seem like a straightforward tale on the surface.
That's right. What's fascinating about allegory is that it allows for different interpretations depending on the context and perspective of the audience. It's a reflection of the complexities of the human experience. Moreover, we will now unravel the allegorical depth created by C.S. Lewis, encouraging us to reveal profound truths hidden within its imaginative world. Let's start by identifying some of the key allegorical elements presented in the film. From Aslan's Christ-like sacrifice to the battle between good and evil, represented by the White Witch and the Pevensy's siblings. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is very rich with allegorical symbolisms. Now, we're gonna show some images of Aslan. Our journey through this allegorical landscape begins with none other than Aslan himself. His character embodies a profound parallel to the sacrifice figure of Christ, serving as a beacon of selfless love and redemption in the face of overwhelming darkness. However, the allegorical narrative goes further. It delves into the core conflict of Narnia, the struggle between good and evil, embodied by the mysterious White Witch and the courageous Pevensey siblings. Here, the antagonist of the film, the White Witch, represents the embodiment of tyranny and temptation, luring others into a web of deceit, promises of power and control. Conversely, the Pevensey siblings emerge as symbols of courage, resilience, and the enduring human spirit in the face of adversity. Now, through these all allegorical representations, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe becomes a mosaic of deeper truths, inviting us to reflect on the eternal stage struggle between light and darkness, good and evil.
Absolutely, Harold. Each character and plot point serves as a metaphor for larger themes such as redemption, temptation, and the power of faith. By analyzing these allegorical elements, we gain a deeper understanding of the film's message and its relevance to our own lives.
So now, let's shift our focus to how these allegorical elements are used to convey deeper meaning within the film. By layering their narratives with symbolic imagery and themes, the filmmakers offer audiences a richer and more nuanced viewing experience. Viewers aren't just entertained, they're encouraged to engage with the story on a deeper level, exploring its allegorical implications and pondering its relevance to their own lives.
It's compelling how directors employ allegory to address fundamental truths and integrate concepts in such a captivating manner.
Precisely. And it's this invitation to contemplation and interpretation that makes allegory such an impactful tool in filmmaking. It transcends mere entertainment, inviting audiences to engage with the story on multiple levels and to find personal resonance in its deeper themes and messages. It's very clear here that Lewis's faith played a significant role in shaping the allegorical landscape of Narnia and its cinematic adaptation.
So now we are going to deep dive on the theological and religious themes of Narnia. So, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So, it's a great fantasy movie based on the books by the same title by C.S. Lewis. And with many C.S. Lewis works, Lewis infused a lot of Christianity, like Christian elements in the book, and we can see them in action in the movie. For example, so when Lucy steps into Narnia, she was at awe at its wonder. It symbolizes like the discoveries of new lands and people in the new world during different times of exploration. Who were seen as needing deliverance by the explorers. They needed to hear the gospels, let's say, to be in awe in their glory. And when Mr. Thomas told Lucy that it is always winter but never Christmas, it also symbolizes the delay of Christ's coming as a tragedy. It's we as Christians we strive to know Christ is coming, and yet it being delayed is seen as a tragedy. Next is the Pevensey siblings, and that they are constantly called the sons of Adam and daughters of Eve, which ties to their lineage, the first man and woman that God created in the Bible, and them being seen as saviors in even in a world filled with magical creatures strengthens the anthropocentric argument that humans have a divine authority to rule the world. Next is another theme that was discussed in the movie was the temptation, or in this case, the eating of the Turkish delights.
So actually, while we're actually watching this part where the temptation is actually working on to, C.S. Lewis actually mentioned that he didn't mean to add Christianity to Narnia. He wasn't forcing Christianity. He simply was just a Christian who made stories, who made books, and it just developed into Narnia and to his other books. Uh, And it's crazy to see some stuff like that and then how it actually can impact people.
Yeah, there's a lot of symbolism in this movie, and it really shows that C.S. Lewis didn't really intentionally did input this for the Christian viewers, but it is really engaging to see the unintentional meaning becoming an actual meaning to people who review this movie. It's really
Exactly. Actually,
interesting.
in reality, not a lot of people actually like Christianity just being shoved into their face, but like it's what we have now. It's
Definitely, yeah,
the
for
film
sure.
that made Narnia.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, with regards to the eating of the Turkish delights, it's seen as eating the forbidden fruit in the book of Genesis, which resulted in the fall of man. And this, when Edmund eat the Turkish delights, it made him turn against his own family and himself. Next is like the confrontation between the professor, Peter, and Susan. So Peter and Susan talk about to the professor how absurd for Lucy to see a magical wonderland in the wardrobe. Susan thinks that Lucy is like a madman or something, while Peter thinks Lucy is lying. However, the professor thinks Lucy is telling the truth. This has the same structure as C.S. Lewis's famous argument or the Lewis trilemma, which argues for the divinity of Christ, being he's either a madman, a lunatic, or a lunatic. He's either lying or he's telling the truth. Next is the Pevensy's siblings experience different miracles. I think we can show one of them. Okay. Yeah, here's one of the miracles. You can see. Here's here's Aslan turning Mr. Thumnus into life, as you can see. And there's many more miracles that the Pevensey siblings experience on their way to meet Aslan. These miracles have been linked to Aslan, and they chipped away on their own misbeliefs about him. As such, Aslan has been perceived to be the Jesus Christ in the story. Hmm, That's easy. Next is when the White Witch arrives in Aslan's camp. So, so when the White Witch arrives in Aslan's camp, after Aslan saves Edmund, she demands to take Edmund back and reminds him that all traitors belong to her. Oh, all right. So as you can see, to recap, she demanded Edmund since all traitors belong to her, as he declared that Edmund was a traitor. And by this regard, she is linked to being an allegory for Satan, to whom all sinners belong to hell. Knowing this, Aslan made a deal with the White Witch that the White Witch kill him in place of Edmund. This is an allegory for Jesus being sent to die for the sins of man and being the payment for sin for the devil. And we can next is the night before the battle. So CN season. as we can see in the scene, it's similar to how Jesus goes alone to in the Garden of Gethsemane in the Gospels. How after which Aslan is arrested, taunted, mocked, and killed, which has been symbolized as the passion and death of Jesus. We can show a short bits of it.
So like this part is like the Judas kiss. So like let's say if we
Essentially,
actually compare it, this is where quote unquote Edmund was Judas, where it led to the point where Aslan sacrificed himself for the quote unquote greater good for their well being at the very end. Right?
yep. Essentially, it's something like that.
That's actually very interesting because even if C.S. Lewis didn't mean it to be like that, it's obviously it's well somewhat connected to into ties with that part of Christianity, which is pretty interesting. Okay, let's show Aslan's sacrifice.
Yeah. So, as you can see,
It's actually pretty sad seeing him tortured, his hair cut. It's
indeed,
honestly very
Yeah.
emotional to see.
This
And
is
for
just a
Lucy
painful
and
visual.
and Susan to witness all this, it's like the time where Mary, the mother of Jesus, actually sees her son being placed on the cross. It's very sad and very emotional.
indeed,
Yeah, this scene was really hard to watch.
it's very hard to watch, especially since it's similar to how The Passion of Christ by Mel Gibson. It's almost similar to. I think it's
Yeah, definitely. I could see it like tying between the Passion of Christ. Yeah.
indeed, yeah.
In that knowledge, despair, and die!
No, from
Oh,
just that part, you can see the people against Aslan, the people who are like following the quote unquote queen. And like let's say in the Bible, the king finds out there's somebody giving miracles. There's somebody who's quote unquote being called king. And then that's one of the reasons why Jesus was being hunted. In this part where Aslan is being killed, the reason why he's being killed is not because he was wanting to be hunted, but he was already king. But he sacrificed himself for the sake of somebody who came into his land, which is just sacrificial love. And it's absolutely amazing from Aslan just doing that.
yeah. It's kind of very reminiscent of Jesus' sacrifice, actually. All right. So next is after Aslan is killed. Let's see, like the aftermath. So his body lays there in the stone table, just like how Jesus was laid in the tomb after his death. So show a short part of it. So as you can see, he's there, lying there.
Okay, why'd
It's
you laugh?
oh, I'm sorry.
He's dead. He's the king. He's the creator of Narnia. And you're laughing at him. Watch him resurrect
Uh,
right now.
all right, let's see it. All right, let's see him resurrect in a bit. Oh wait, no,
In the
we.
blink of an eye,
Oh wait, no, no, no.
they
It's
just turn their heads back,
they turn
and
their
then
head back.
Aslan is gone.
Let's just wait for a bit.
Okay, guys, I predict he's gonna turn into life, right? About
Watch,
Three
watch.
seconds. 3 seconds. 3 seconds.
Three
Give him
seconds.
time, give him time.
Give him time. Give him time. Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
There we
let
go.
him
There
cook,
you go.
guys. Let him cook.
Let's.
He's gone.
Oh, he's gone. And as you can see, it's kind of like this
Whoa.
how Mary Magdalene and other women saw the empty tomb, which was similar to how the gospel interpreted it. No, they saw the empty tomb, which is ironic considering it's also women that discovered the empty tomb. There we go. And as you can see, Aslan is resurrected.
He rose on the
was-
third day.
More likely 3 hours.
True.
There was an all-out war before all of that.
Or, I don't know. Also, funny enough, it's also that Mary Magdalene was the first one to saw Jesus. So, again, women. So, it's kind of very symbolic, to so to say, to see them, to see Susan and Lucy be the first ones to see Aslan be alive and resurrected. All right. So, so next is going for Aslan and Lucy going back to the witch's uh, castle. I guess we just do the miracle one. There we go. As you can see, and as you can see, as I stated before, Aslan resurrected them again. He breathed new life into them, which is a symbolism for Jesus saving all men from sin no matter what, and that God never abandoned his people, and he will rescue them no matter what.
Even as a sinner, Aslan will still give you the benefit of the doubt and still give you the love and care he's always willing to give for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's really like Jesus.
He's a cool guy. He's a cool
He-
guy. I'll bro this
I-
many time.
God bless Narnia.
God bless
God
Narnia.
bless Narnia.
Thank you, C.S. Lewis.
Next is the battle scene in the movie, which symbolizes man's battle between good and evil. So I guess a good example is the struggle right here. Peter struggling
Watch your
against
diet
life.
to a child.
Him watching.
Yeah,
Never
Yeah,
mind, guys.
Oh,
He
no,
did.
never
He
mind.
wasn't cooking.
He wasn't cooking enough.
But honestly, this struggle is just like the fight of like the followers of Jesus. Like they didn't even know what happened after him being resurrected or like him being resurrected at all at the time, but like they're just fighting for Jesus itself.
Okay. There you go. So during the battle, so we saw a short glimpse of it, but during the battle with the White Witch, Aston returned with his new army, similar how Revelation describes the second coming of Jesus, essentially, which is kind of a good one. And after which, next is the defeat of the White Witch, where, as you can see, Aslan said, "It is finished," which is similar to how the Gospel of John said, like Jesus' final words in the cross, like he said, "It is finished," saying that it's his victory over sin, and that all are saved through him. And yeah, that is all for the religious themes in Narnia.
All of what you said earlier was like a really, really big impact already to the audience. Cause like seeing all these Christian like tales from the Bible, in a film from a different time is actually so, let's say, inspiring for other people, but let's say other people see something different. But like, in another notable part of Narnia's impacts was like, as a whole, is Aslan. Aslan as a whole is depicted in the film as someone who is good, righteous, and is someone who has sacrificial love. He's definitely the creator and the ruler of Narnia. Throughout the characters like Aslan, the audience gets a feel of biblical stories about sacrifice, redemption, and what felt like just an adventure turned more into a lesson about faith and morality. Like, at the very end of it, Lucy and Susan was sticking right next to Aslan that entire time. They were hoping for Aslan to be okay, and then that's when resurrection happened. It was testing them with their faith and their belief against winning against, let's say, the White Witch. But its impact was more than just that. If we dug even deeper, recognizing its influence on how we think about morality and spiritually, we could see how this film impacted the audience and the upbringing of religious allegory in Narnia. Actually, Narnia in the books had deeper and more profound ties with Christianity. C.S. Lewis wrote Narnia like a sermon, let's say, quote unquote, a sermon under a thin veneer of fantasy, with later books going even deeper with its Christian stories. That said, Narnia is not forcing Christianity. Narnia was written by C.S. Lewis, who wrote a lot about Christianity. He didn't mean to write Narnia as like just a Christian film. No, it was just made by C.S. Lewis, a person who writes and is inspired with Christianity or with religious themes. With his other books like The Screw Tape Letters, A Grief Observed, The Problem of Pain and Miracles, while the Chronicles of Narnia is fantasy. Suis, C.S. Lewis said Christianity came into the series. Everything began with images: a fawn carrying an umbrella, a queen on a sledge, and a magnificent lion. At first, there wasn't even anything Christian about them. That element pushed itself in its own accord. But to the eyes of the audience, Narnia is all about Christ. It's all about Christ. A lot of people would say it. With books written and has major comparisons based on the life of Christ. With Aslan the creator like Christ. However, it was more than simply a story. It was about Narnia itself. The audience was taking over the film's stunning visuals and intriguing characters. Before long, Narnia existed beyond the pages of a book, and it was a staple of pop culture. There was there were stage performances, theme park rides, and action figures based on Narnia's series. It developed a lot of its impact on the people, how good it actually gave the people's ideas. It gave them the creative potential. And years after its publication, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is still regarded as a treasured classic. It's more than simply a film, it serves as a reminder of creative potential, like I said, and its timeless appeal of well-told tale. Whatever you say that, let's say, C.S. Lewis was forcing Christianity, there was there is nothing fighting the fact that Narnia impacted a lot of people in ways that many could say about the stories of Christ, the believing and hoping and the faith they were given on winning against evil, the White Witch. And furthermore, even with people being disappointed at the movie, feeling like Christianity was being forced on them, Narnia's legacy will always endure as long as people talks about it. Encouraging future generations to believe in magic and the goodness of humanity. And with all that, there's nothing about anything wrong about seeing Christianity in movies. It's all about how it's written, the story it's based on. And for me, that's how it impacted me. You know, Narnia is not just a tale for me, it's simply just an amazing book, an amazing film where it talks about life and death and how good and evil is always at battle from each other. And even if evil prevails in one part, just have faith, have a little bit of compassion, and then just believe in yourself and anything else. Good will always prevail. And I'm actually really curious with the other people around me right now. What do you guys think is the impact of Narnia for you?
Yeah, for me, the impact really helped me. And also, because of the film, it's not uh, like being the Christianity is not being forced, but for us, theorize that we can theorize our journey while watching the film. So I've not only deepened my own understanding of spirituality, but also found joy in sharing these insights.
It's a really like the film is has a lot of like religious themes. Even if you don't like believe in like Christianity, you can still appreciate it for what it is, about self-sacrifice, love, faith, It's it's a great film, you know. And even if C.S. Lewis never intended to like incorporate like or maybe incorporate like Christian themes into it, uh, it sure has a lot of Christianity in it.
Actually, yeah, there's a lot of Christianity in it, but even if he didn't mean to, it's still a good film nonetheless.
Yeah, it captures all the beauty in it. So basically, in the film, so we understand about these scenarios that we see from our point of view is based on Christianity, or rather, the beauty and the depth of the film's expression. It wasn't really heavily forced upon the understandings for Christianity, honestly, or rather, it just helps us with our morals and our spiritual beliefs.
And yeah, I totally agree with all of your points made on how this movie really made an impact on us. And so, as we draw our exploration of this movie to a close, it's evident that this cinematic journey is far more than a simple tale of fantasy and adventure. Directed by Andrew Adamson, this film encapsulates a rich tapestry of courage, sacrifice, redemption, woven with the intricate threads of allegory and religious themes that resonate deeply with the audiences beyond the confines of this genre. Throughout our discussion, we delve into the multifaceted narrative of the Pevensie siblings and their odyssey in Narnia, a land ensnared under the icy grip of the White Witch, but destined for liberation through the prophecy they fulfill alongside Aslan, the magnanimous lion. This story, while thrilling in its depiction of bravery, loyalty, and the eternal battle between the good and evil, also serves as a profound allegorical narrative echoing religious motifs of sacrifice, redemption, and spiritual growth. The, aller- the allegorical riches of Narnia, as envisaged by C.S. Lewis, is not merely for the sake of storytelling. Instead, it invites us to ponder deeper existential questions and spiritual truths. Aslan's sacrificial love, as mentioned before, mirroring the Christian narrative of Christ's sacrifice, imbues the tale with a layer of spiritual significance that just transcends the fantasy genre. This is further highlighted through the Pevensie siblings, denoted as the sons of Adam and daughters of Eve, like what is said before, yeah, bringing forth the themes of human fallibility and divine grace. And so, again, the impact of this film and allegorical depth on audiences underscores the lasting legacy of Narnia. It's a narrative that has not only captivated viewers with its enchanting visuals and compelling characters, but has also offered a unique lens through which to explore the themes of faith, morality, and the essence of humanity. This dual nature of Narnia, both as a thrilling fantasy and as a vessel for profound spiritual allegory, just ensures its place in the pantheon of timeless classics that continue to inspire and evoke reflection. And so, as our Beyond the Wardrobe journey comes to an end, we do hope that this exploration has not only deepened your appreciation for the magical realm of Narnia, but also inspired reflection on the profound themes that resonate within its story. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer to the Chronicles, the world of Narnia invites us to believe in the power of faith, the beauty of sacrifice, and enduring strength of good over evil. Thank you for joining us on this adventure through one of literature and cinema's most beloved landscapes. May the lessons of Narnia, the courage of the Pevensie siblings, and the wisdom of Aslan accompany you in your own journey, both real and imagined. Until we meet again, keep the spirit of Narnia alive in your heart, and remember, the door to this magical world remains open for those who dare to believe. Farewell, and may your adventure be many and your heart always true.
Bye.
Bye,
That
guys.
was an
Bye, guys. Thank you.
amazing
That's
Bye.
night.
good. Yeah.
Goodbye,
Bye.
guys. Thank you for listening to
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
us.
Thank you for
Thanks for
listening to our
Yeah,
listening.
Thanks
podcast.
for listening.
thank you.
Beyond the Wardrobe. Bye.
This was Beyond the Wardrobe, exploring allegory and religious themes in the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. See you again, and goodbye.